The global commitment to climate action enshrined in the Paris Agreement demands accountability. For Uganda, achieving its nationally determined contribution, NDC, requires a foundation of rigorous data and unwavering transparency. This is the story of how the Capacity Building Initiative for Transparency, CBIT, empowered a nation to build that foundation.
This is a hands-on project that is aiming at building capacity and equipping Ugandans with the skills to improve actually the greenhouse gas data collection and also enhance transparency in reporting when it comes to climate change. The CBIT project is supported, as I mentioned, by AFRI Institute, and we have an MOU, and it is an interministerial engagement. That is to say, it involves a number of ministries in the implementation. The Minister of Water and Environment is at the helm of driving it. It is also intended to strengthen the institutional collaboration, which has improved Uganda's tracking on our commitments, such as the National Determined Contribution, the NDC targets, and also reporting on the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, which we know as the UNFCCC.
Conservation International is a GEF-accredited agency, and what this means, we are able to work with countries to access financing from the Global Environment Facility. We've been able to support more than 10 countries in Africa, including Uganda.
This project is actually looking at that holistic approach, that as you try to address the human capacity in terms of needs, okay, that's why the project went ahead to do what we call the capacity needs assessment. So it looks at the sector, what are those capacity needs that exist in those sectors. Upon identifying the capacity needs, then you address the rightful capacities and the gaps that people lack. So once you do that, then you look at, they have an enabling environment? Can they do these things? Then it looks at the enabling policies and strategies. Once that one is addressed, then what about the mechanism to do it? The tools.
The execution of CBIT Uganda is unique. It's a novel partnership where the Africa Innovations Institute, a non-governmental organization, implements the project on behalf of the government.
Most of the CBIT projects implemented in Africa, actually even more or less globally, ours is the unique arrangement for delivering. Many of those projects are implemented by the government themselves. But this particular one, I mentioned earlier that we are an NGO. And we are implementing CBIT on behalf of government. And government is okay with it. As the name suggests, Africa Innovations Institute. We focus on innovations. But we also do a bit of research. But our key focus is ensuring that knowledge, technologies that are generated or available at research institutes, universities, are put to use.
Just as this complex project began its most technical phase, the world changed. The COVID-19 lockdown posed an existential threat to a project built on hands-on, in-person training.
Unfortunately, COVID-19 came in and caught us when we had just started. So we are faced with, should we postpone this project until COVID is over? Or should we continue? So my team were headed by Dr. Feli. We decided that we cannot postpone this project. We started this online meeting and it worked very well.
The first phase was a very unique one, as we were just starting the actual business of a complicated technical training, the greenhouse gas inventory training. We got COVID lockdown. By then, we hadn't yet known that you can actually conduct a training online. So CBIT Uganda project was the first classroom to have Zoom training So that one was unique, but it ended up kind of giving us a lot of confidence. And I think we've learned so much working remotely, and it opens opportunity for training a lot of people compared to when you're limited by physical space.
CBIT 1, we had a challenge in COVID-19. My role was to see that there is a effectiveness and efficiency of managing the project funds to meet its objectives. So the challenge was there was a restriction of movement. So, but because we had to continue working, this challenge was solved by using mobile transactions and online banking.
The CBIT Uganda team is very adaptive and coping to very well with the capacity building initiative. This happened during partly during the COVID-19 lockdown, but we came out, as I mentioned, top of the 96 countries involved.
This newfound expertise created a ripple effect, catapulting individuals from local implementers to international experts, shaping global policy.
My story started with CBIT project when they sponsored me to attend COP25 in Spain then. My participation at COP25 has been a key and what has made me what I am today, to be a negotiator for agriculture for Uganda at the UNFOC, because that was the beginning of everything. It is from then that my capacity was built. Because of that, FAO added on what I had developed from COP25 and trained me as a negotiator. I'm now an international person because I attend all the COPs, I sit and talk for my country and for my sector as a whole. We'll be going to Belém in Brazil for COP30. I appreciate CBIT 1 and the CBIT 2 project with the Africa Innovation Institute, Ministry of Water and Environment, and Conservation International for all this, because without them, I wouldn't be where I am.
From the phase 1 project, we attained quite a number of trainings, and I was part of the process, but I was also trained, and this equipped me with enhanced knowledge that has then propelled me to where I am right now. The trainings and my experience with CBIT 1 to go for the Conference of Parties meeting, but I was also exposed to the capacity building hub that is hosted under the UNFCCC, and I was able to see and share lessons with different countries that are implementing their CBIT projects.
Our knowledge was enhanced in GHG and its accounting. Now, because of that knowledge, as an individual, I gained confidence because now I realized that I have some knowledge. So I went on to enroll for the UNFCCC series of trainings. And as we talk now, I'm a certified technical expert reviewer of the UNFCCC because of the background that was given by CBIT 1. I had long stopped studying. When I realized that I had gained some good knowledge, I said, now why don't I proceed and do a PhD in climate change? I applied for a place and I was admitted to the University of Nairobi. And right now I'm about to complete my PhD in climate change because of the confidence and the knowledge that we received from CBIT 1.
After the CBIT first training, I was invited to undertake another training by UNFCCC now directly. And I was recruited to a team of experts under the UNFCCC. So I receive invitations to different webinars almost on a monthly basis on green technologies, on mitigation. So now I can consider myself an expert.
The project's greatest systemic impact was transforming the institutional landscape by bringing together multiple ministries, departments, agencies, and non-state actors. Uganda moved from a fragmented approach to a collaborative framework.
One of the best examples I can have, because it is bringing us away from what we used to do before. We call it working in silos. each institution working on their own, but when you try to bring the information together, it does not match. So we are now able to harmonize and make sure that when we report, the information is accurate and informative, both national and at international levels.
Each agency or department was doing things on their own. We have our own teams who are doing their own work. So the CBIT project was able to help to do that coordination, that all of those institutions involved around activities that the greenhouse gases are coordinated. So we are able to have a platform where we can be able to share and engage.
There's been a lot of experience. First, collaboration with other ministry departments. Until CBIT came on board, I didn't know that there was a CCD department, climate change department at the Ministry of Water and Environment. So it was a new format, a new form of networking, which was very good in terms of interministerial. This coordination is actually ongoing, and we are still coordinating, we're still talking. So through that, a number of environmental projects have come up, and we are working on them. I think we have the climate finance strategy, which is being developed at Ministry of Finance.
So the CBIT project brought us close together with focal points to understand each other's needs, and of course to try and brainstorm together as experts in greenhouse gas inventories to come up with actionable solutions on the needs that need to be addressed for each sector. So as a coordinating entity, it's our role to ensure that whatever project that comes on board to contribute towards transparency, contribute to each other to avoid duplication of efforts.
We didn't know that we can't calculate our own information minus working with the Ministry of Energy. So through that training, we have been able to harmonize our working relationship with the Ministry of Energy.
We didn't know we had a lot of gaps. It was a bit shocking, but also that's the reality. It was very, very important. Because initially it was a government thing. But now that you had many actors working together with the government team.
So this brings in quite a significant cross-fertilization to enable countries, Uganda, to really tap into the best of government experience and government obligations, but also tap into the experience of our civil society.
Beyond collaboration, the project's core mission was to improve the quality of data. This meant moving from generic Tier 1 default estimates to specific Tier 2 data that reflects Uganda's unique national circumstances.
In CBIT 1, we were using what we call default factors. But in CBIT 2, we are going to generate what we call country-specific emission factors. And so we are going to report more accurately in CBIT 2 compared to CBIT 1. The most striking experience in the CBIT 1 project was the fact that when you went to talk to people and tell them about this greenhouse gas inventory, about the data required, they would not understand. One of the major challenges we experienced in the implementation of the CBIT project has been the reservations that people have with providing their data. But over time, as we went on engaging them and explaining to them, especially the high-level decision makers in the sectors, but also the technical staff in the sectors, they begin to appreciate the need to have this data.
We did have hands-on trainings where the sector experts were trained on how they could compile sector-specific inventories. And then having these templates in place has helped to structure in that the data that is collected is in the right format that is required within the software to make the work of compiling the inventory much simpler.
Across every key sector, the impact was tangible.
Under CBIT 1, there are some gaps which are identified under transport and waste sector, which relate to data collection needs, and of course the need for tracking the national determined contribution the Initiative for Climate Action Transparency came on board to address those specific needs.
For the agriculture sector, we are one of the key emitters of greenhouse gases. According to our studies and what we did, we found that actually the agriculture sector was leading in greenhouse gases. And this was due to population increase, changing land uses. Before, our data were not capturing climate change. CBIT is helping us to put in the variables that were not captured in regards to climate change mitigation and adaptation. So when CBIT1 came in, it worked along with the UBOS, Uganda Bureau of Statistics, to help us improve the tool and put in those variables. And then the tool was used in the collection of data when we were doing the livestock census in 2021. And one of the key tools now is the annual agriculture survey.
UBOS does collect data on municipal solid waste and the different other categories of waste that are used in the inventory. Then for the AFOLU, we do have agricultural statistics that are very relevant. And in 2024, UBOS undertook a national population and housing census where we were able to capture at least a number of options of interest in the inventories.
In 2020 there, we got to know of this project and I interfaced with Dr. Ferry, and our ministry had not been included in that project, and yet we were very key stakeholders because we are the ones in charge of industries. So when we interacted, I told her, you have to include it in. She accepted. They discussed, accepted, and we started and we were included in the training program. And so I mobilized my staff and we started the training program. Collecting data was a challenge, but now we can collect data.
This project was very, very important in our work, and most especially to implement objective number 5 of the industrial policy to ensure sustainable industrialization in this country. I would say now is the decisions are informed with the data.
Through the CBIT trainings that we've had from CBIT1 and CBIT2, we have been able to know the effects of industry to climate change. We have been able to get trainings that have enabled us to collect data. We have been able to train other people to understand the essence of climate change. We have been able to train even other officers who are not on that team, and they have learned and got the aspects of greenhouse gas emissions. Even the management has got interest in climate change, and they have given us allocation for a budget. We have about 20% of our budget now allocated to climate change. We have also been able to come up and say, yes, we have now knowledge. We are experts in climate change in the industry sector.
The energy sector plays a role as one of the highest emitting sectors in Uganda's greenhouse gas inventory profile. The CBIT project has supported us in having an appreciation of the emission profile in the energy sector. So we now have an understanding of what are the highly emitting interventions within the energy sector, and we have been able to then collect data and have an appreciation of the impact. In the past, our collaboration with the Ministry of Water and Environment was limited. The Ministry of Water and Environment would then get consultants who would go and collect, some expert data. With the onboarding of this project, the CBIT, the Capacity Building Initiative for Transparency, our capacities have been built to have then the technical skills and the infrastructure and the software to then do the reporting to the Ministry of Water and Environment. Through the CBIT project, we are able to then, I'm aware that we are acquiring emissions measuring equipment, for instance, a gas chromatography to support the capturing and analysis of data. That is very important for the energy sector.
CBIT introduced an information management system for greenhouse gas emissions. So one of the ways I've benefited is by understanding that entire process, from data collection to how the emissions are being calculated and how they are being portrayed nationally and internationally. Secondly, the CBIT provided us with some data tools, data collection tools, and also an understanding of the methodology for calculating GHG emissions. We have seen some revisions within the energy balance and improvements to help us capture data better and report it better and more accurate.
We have been trained in different data collection methods. We have been trained in different tools and in different data analysis technologies that are needed for preparing data for this project and many other projects that are in charge of climate change. The gaps between the sectors are linked and there's involvement of stakeholders in each and every step. So I commend that for them. I can't forget about the holistic training and capacity building. It is really standing out compared to other projects.
From the analysis that we've been doing, we've been able to identify subtle changes in the trends of forest, the forest trends over time. We are now able to tease it out, and we see which sector is affecting which other sector and how we can harmonize across all sectors so that we can come up with a national improved GHG report for the country.
We've amassed improvement in the waste sector to the point that the country is documenting a national policy for waste management. So with the data collected through the improved tools, now we are able to make evidence-based decision making. We are able to put strategies within our national policy to improve waste management in the country. Further to this, we're equally working on a strategy for organic waste management in the country. And all this has been achieved because we know what's happening within the ecosystem. We've been to the markets, we've been to the homesteads, we've interacted with the waste generators.
Waste management hasn't been on the national agenda previously, and each of the sectors have been managing it in isolation. But now that we have knowledge on how to carry out inventories and also collect data and also transmit it and know how we can ably use this data, therefore, it has even helped us to publicize, because the data we publicize now and what we share with UBOS. Under CBIT 2, we tend to improve on the data, especially on digitalization, whereby all the steps along the chain can easily feed in, not only at centralized level. We want to track this truck that is moving the waste from source and then also monitor it through the route chart up to the end disposal site. And then we are all able to aggregate all this and probably benefit on carbon credits.
We were able to learn how to calculate our emissions. That is something we had never done. It was the first of its kind. So as a ministry, from that time, we have been able now to update our greenhouse gas emissions every year.
If we want to get, for example, accurate data sources, we have to work with the private people, insurance, and even the people selling the vehicles. And we have achieved it, at least now, as I talk. At least we are 90-something% in our budgeting. We have now money allocated for climate change mitigation and adaptation. For example, we have a subsector for water transport. We have started now collecting this data in the districts, and we have started with district bordering Lake Victoria.
Transparency is inclusive. CBIT 2 placed a strong emphasis on gender mainstreaming.
The other aspect of gender mainstreaming, because I think the CBIT 2 is emphasizing bringing that lens. So we are updating our
data template for collecting activity data to ensure it captures the gender aspects, female, male, and to get the reasons as to why certain things are happening the way they are.
In CBIT 1, we didn't have specific activity tools that are capturing gender aspects. But when we joined CBIT 2, we have been able to incorporate different aspects in our data collection tool.
One of our most effective communication tools have been fact sheets, because the fact sheets are simplified technical ideas that are easy to understand and as well as relate to the project implementation. The fact sheets are done in two versions, that is the simplified and both the technical, as well as we do the infographics for the different sectors. And we do have our social media platforms, that is LinkedIn, the Twitter, and also Instagram, as well as the website, where we do disseminate this kind of the different communication materials so that they are widely accessed.
The ultimate measure of CBIT success is its sustainability.
Shortly after our phase 1 closure, we got a request for exposure visit to Uganda by Liberia. That was a very special visit because a delegation, a high-level delegation from Liberia came to visit in Uganda to learn how we have done CBIT. We were happy that people are liking what we are doing, and we were hoping that they can learn something from us. So we are happy to learn that they actually successfully completed their phase 1 and they are rolling into phase 2. Long after completing the phase 1 CBIT project, we also got a request for knowledge exchange from Lebanon. So we've had a country in Africa and beyond and learning from us.
CBIT 1 was really doing documentation and knowledge management products. It had several briefs on each of the components that they implemented, the gender mainstreaming, the assessments and studies. They were also able to upload their information on a public platform, on the climate transparency platform, of which their products or their outputs can be accessed by even other countries to learn from them.
We based on that project information data to develop the policy, the act of the climate change, and also regulations. And now we are very proud about this project because of what they have left as a legacy.
We are moving into a greenhouse gas center for Uganda. And maybe we can expand it to cover the Eastern African region. We are going to set up a laboratory for measuring greenhouse gases. We are going to use that to train technicians, researchers, and to train whoever else wants to know how to measure greenhouse gases and to report. And we want not only to stop in Uganda, but to expand to the rest of Eastern Africa.
We need to tap into the new data sources. We have a lot of developments that have happened in the field of data. For example, there is the AI, there is the big data, and I believe capacity needs to be built to acquire skills to be able to tap into this technology.
Government will also now reduce reliance on consultants because we have the 80 trained experts who are in the country and they are across all sectors. We are all aware government is now adopted the tagging of climate change into the national budget. The CBIT Uganda project stands out on 3 grounds. One, there is a very strong emphasis on gender mainstreaming and multi-stakeholder engagements. The second aspect is the hands-on training. That has impacted very precise skills to the people who have participating in it. This was not just a textbook issue, it is hands-on. So it was very, very, very practical. The government of Uganda wishes to extend its gratitude to the Global Environment Facility that funded this, together with Conservation International, for the support they've provided. And we thank also our partners, Africa Innovation Institute, and all the lead agencies of government, the academia, who not only participated but embraced and supported the project to deliver very, very impactful results.
From a state of data gaps to becoming a regional leader, from isolated silos to a unified national framework, and from reliance on consultants to empowering a generation of international experts, the CBIT Uganda project has not just built a reporting system, it has secured a transparent, accountable, and sustainable future. The Capacity Building Initiative for Transparency Uganda project, implemented by the Ministry of Water and Environment through the Climate Change Department in partnership with the Africa Innovations Institute with funding from the Global Environment Facility through Conservation International.